So, fam, Brandon Johnson is sad, heartbroken because his own alderman will not help pass his proposed budget fixing plan. The man actually, well, I'm gonna say he actually tried to shed tears. I don't know if he did. We're gonna watch it together and see if he actually did. But let's just see what he's talking about. Let's just hear it directly from the chicken hawk himself. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. When you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Let's hit it.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson shedding some crocodile tears today after his beloved corporate head tax proposal got nixed from the city council's alternative budget proposal.
There are lines of Chicagoans right now of people who do not have food, you guys. And if you've never gone hungry, you wouldn't know why I have that urgency. If you've never opened up your refrigerator and there's nothing in it, the poverty sucks. Corporations are making a killing right now, and we have Alders that are more interested in defending these big corporations than families like mine who went without food and electricity and could not afford rent and mortgage. Get me something I can work with.
Let's look at hold on. Let's look at this. Look at this real quick. Hold on. Y'all see that, so y'all can read that while I say this. Chicago has been hit with a lot of deletions by YNs, suspected YNs, since forever. But let's just say during his term. Okay. I haven't seen him. What happened? Something happened a couple of weeks ago. I cannot think about it. Oh. When those ratchet children beat up that woman and her kids walking home from school. And the woman had sickle cell and she was trying to protect her family, her kids from getting beat up. And these little kids just jumped on her. And, it was just sad. Hospitalized a woman and stuff like that. And a little boy, I believe. I didn't see Brandon Johnson get on TV and fake the funk with them crocodile tears. I didn't see him do that. Yeah, I didn't see him do that. When what was the rapper a few months ago? I think it's the same city. Had a album release party at some little club, and when everybody walked out, somebody came up and just drove up and started shooting. You know what I'm saying? Started shooting up the place. A bunch of people got hurt and died. I didn't see him get on the news and give this same performance. The worst I've seen him say about these things is that he don't want nobody to be, categorized as being thugs and stuff like that. He says just large gatherings, so with some kids. Brandon Johnson is full of crap because my thing is, wouldn't deaths, premature deaths, be more heart wrenching than somebody who's hungry for today? Because they may get some money, they may get ready to eat tomorrow. Hey, you can go days without eating if you really want to be serious about it. I ain't trying to downplay it, but hell, you can go forever, 40 days and 40 nights without eating if need be. Hallelujah. Now you need some water to drink. Get your fluids and stuff. But death is instantaneous, and there's no coming back from it. There's no fixing that. So why is he so upset about this plan? Again, this man he sticks to the narrative, and I don't understand why he feels that he can't go and just say, hey, look at her. Here's what happened. I spent a lot of money on these migrants. Shouldn't have. I should have made sure I took care of the people of Chicago, the citizens of Chicago first. and then thought about helping the migrants later. That's my fault. Dang it. I should have learned. Now I'm gonna try to fix it. No, he ain't doing that because he still don't care. He still want them to come in, which is I don't know. Even though it's hurting the city, he still is trying to promote things that is not productive for the citizens of Chicago.
Maybe acting's in his future? I don't know. Well, this head tax he's got so emotional about is his genius idea to fill a massive 2026 budget hole, which would charge companies with more than 100 employees $21 per employee per month.
So this says applies to companies with 100 plus employees. That's not a lot of that's not a lot of people. And he said it's only affecting like 3% of the 3% of the companies, corporations in Chicago. So let me see. Let me do the math. If it's let's say if you got 100 companies, 3%. So let's say you got 100 companies. So three companies times 100, that's 300 employees. I mean, we're just saying 300 employees. That would leave 97 companies, and they may have less than 100. How many think they would have? Like 50? 50, that's like 400, 500. So you're still looking at a large number, one third or one fourth of the employees in that city, who's the 3% of the company, the three companies would be affected. And I don't think them companies want to do that. So they'll probably, like I say, end up moving out. So now you got one fourth, so one third, maybe one. I could take it all down to one fifth, maybe, of your citizens out of work, unemployed. So now you got an additional. You can add to your poverty rate by doing that.
Month. Now, it's part of his larger $600 million proposed tax increases for the year.
For more, let's bring in Chicago Alderman Raymond Lopez. So, Raymond, I know how much you love the city of Chicago, and none of us, not at this table or where you are, want to see anybody go hungry.
Oh, look, he's an Hispanic guy, and he's a Democrat. Amazing.
Is this an issue of not being compassionate, or is this an issue of not balancing a budget?
This is an issue, guys, of how do you perform the best in order to sell the worst policy possible that's going to shift the burden of taxation away from downtown as you continue to chase businesses out and put it on the property owners, the homeowners of the city of Chicago, who are already seeing a 16% increase in their property taxes thanks to his policies that have chased businesses out of this city. What the mayor doesn't tell people while he's tearing up for the cameras is that just last year he tried to stick homeowners with a $300 million property tax increase, as well as hundreds of millions of dollars in new fines and fees. He's doing it again this year, but in order for him to make that campaign pledge that he wants to tax the rich,
I don't understand it. Like, how can you tax people who got nothing to do with why your budget is jacked up in the first place? I don't get it. I don't get it. Like I say, $700 million went to, like I say, asylum seekers or whatever. But because you don't have that money no more, now you want to charge people who are already citizens here since the day they was born. You want them to pay for it for the mistake you made because Daddy Biden didn't give you the money you thought you was gonna get.
this is the performance we get. It has nothing to do with helping everyday Chicagoans because he had none of these tears when he was giving away $600 million to take care of 60,000 Venezuelan migrants here in the city of Chicago.
Also, just for the folks at home, you've got a D next to your name. So you're a Democrat, you're in the same party as the mayor here. Raymond, so Seattle tried and then repealed a similar head tax in 2018 because guess what? Companies like Amazon threatened to withhold expansion. Why does he think Chicago would be any different?
Exactly.
No, it's very interesting for me personally to hear Mayor Johnson talk about all of these failed policies as though they are somehow going to magically work simply because we have Lake Michigan right behind us. They are not going to work. We know what we need to do if we want to lessen the tax burden on working families is that we need to grow the economy. We need to invite businesses back. We need to put people to work. And his $21 a person head tax, while it sounds low, will cost company millions. Take, for example, our local grocer, Jewel, hires 35,000 people here in the city of Chicago. They would have to pay $7 million a year just for the purposes of putting people to work.
Who wants to do that? 35,000 local grocers hiring 35,000 people, and you're gonna make them pay an extra $7 million just to hire these people? And you think they're gonna stay?
Doubt they would stay just because of that.
No way. And it's interesting. I used to be a resident of Chicago, and many, many years ago, you'd see Michigan Avenue full, tourism full, conventions full. And when you think about the amount of taxes that left the city and the amount of revenue that left the city when all those conventions left, that's really part of the big gap, is it not?
100%. If you don't have that additional money coming in, the tourism, the conventions, bringing money to the city of Chicago, you're going to put the burden on maintaining the Chicago bureaucracy on Chicago residents.
And also, Chicago streets don't belong to Chicago no more. Then some little private company bought the streets or leasing the streets out in that city. So now, even if Chicago or the city wanted to have a convention or a parade or do something in the city, they got to pay this company. They got to lease it from them.
And what we're seeing is a return to what was old before, which is a 1980s State Street, where it's basically run down, it's empty, it's a shell of what it used to be. And he's hellbound and determined to continue that trend, even with one of our most notable events in the city at Christmas time, the Chris Kendall Market, reducing it to less than what it was during COVID, simply because he doesn't want that many individuals downtown from City Hall.
Raymond, we've got to get you on this too, because the state of Illinois has rejected the federal no tax on tips policy, President Trump's policy. They're going to keep state tax on tipped income. We know that Governor Pritzker has tried to set himself up in opposition to President Trump, make a name for himself with that. Is that what this is about? Is it political?
100% all of this is political. And as somebody who used to work for tips before I was an alderman, I was a skycap for one of the major airlines here in the city of Chicago. That is something that could definitely help lift people up higher out of the into the middle class, and for individuals who like to spit in the eye of the president simply so that they could make cheap political points. It's disgusting, it's disheartening, and it's un-American. And we've seen that not just with this policy, but with many of the issues when it comes to migrants, when it comes to public safety with the National Guard, and even recently still, as we've seen Greg Bovino leave Chicago, just that refusal to work to find solutions to problems. And yes, I am a Democrat, but I'm also someone who has common sense and wants to put my city and my countrymen first before the politics.
Yeah.
That's what we need. A Democrat with some common sense and not somebody who just pushing a narrative that makes no sense at all for the citizens of the United States.
I'm always going to bring it back. I'm always going to bring it back to the name of our show, which is, what is the bottom line? And when you look at the head tax and you look at the no tax on tips and you look at what a food town Chicago is, and I look at companies like Let Us Entertain You and the Melmans, how do companies like this move forward with wanting to open up new restaurants, wanting to innovate new ideas, wanting to hire more people, wanting to drive people from the suburbs into the city on weekends? How do we handle that to be able to move this city forward?
Well, in 460 plus days, we'll have the opportunity to send Mayor Brandon Johnson packing so that we could actually focus on growth here in the city of Chicago. What we've seen in the Mag Mile, for example, is a 50% reduction in business licenses in what was one of the most premier.
So Brandon Johnson will be out in about a year and a half, is what he's saying?
Shopping districts in the nation. We need to focus on what we know works, which is making safe environments for businesses to thrive, for people to want to invest, whether it's downtown or in our neighborhoods. And until you get rid of the socialist and communist politicians like Brandon Johnson, that will never happen.
Yeah.
Raymond Lopez, appreciate you. I wish everyone shared your same desire for common sense, particularly other politicians.
Are you going to run for mayor?
Oh.
I was told I have to rap, so I'll leave it at that.
Are you going to run for mayor? News right now.
Marcus demands it.
I think you're running.
You posted.
Oh, come on. All right.
Okay, so real quick, while I was looking up while he was talking, telling y'all only had like, a year and a half before Brandon Johnson run up out of there. I'm trying to look up the companies that hire the most people in Chicago. So number one is the Chicago Public Schools, which they're not going to tax them. City of Chicago, they're not going to tax them. Cook County, not going to tax them. Advocate Health Systems, they may hire. They may tax them, try to charge them the head tax. They have 18.5, good Lord, 18,500 people that they've hired. JP Morgan Chase, don't know if they're going to head tax a bank, but they got 16,000 people. University of Chicago, they're not going to tax them. Walgreens, Walgreens has 13,657 employees, so they will be hit with the head tax. Now, let me see. I want to see the calculator or no. Let me see. What's that calculator? Let's do some math. What did I say? 13,657. Where is the calculator? Let's see. 13,657 times $21. That would be okay. 286,797 I guess, if that's right. Okay, so Abbott Laboratories, 12,000. Chicago Transit, they're not gonna. Let me see. Let me try one more thing. The major employers. Let's see. Let's try one more thing, like top 20. Okay, here we go. Okay, it don't show how many they have hired, but it says top 15 to 20 major employers in Chicago, public and private, that are both large and currently showing a lot of job opening activity. Amazing. Number one is Advocate Health. Number two is Amazon, JP Morgan, Walgreens, the University of Chicago, Northwestern Memorial Healthcare, City of Chicago, City Public Schools, Cook County, United Airlines, Walmart, Healthcare Service Corporation, Endeavor Health, large warehouse logistic firms, and finance and professional services. So you got a lot of companies that hire a lot of people. But anyway, and Brandon Johnson want to charge these people this head tax, well, so he can try to help decrease his budget. So, well, Chicago, y'all got about a year and a half to figure out who y'all want to become the next mayor. If not, y'all gonna put him right back in there and go through this whole thing again for another couple of years. But at this point, you get what you vote for. Anywho, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below. Share it with the world. Let's have an intelligent conversation. You know how we do around here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those four things cost you maybe a couple of minutes out of your day, but it means the world to us here at this channel. And with that being said, I leave you in peace and love, and I'll see you on the other side.